So today's project is this beautiful coffee table. It's quite large. It's not too heavy. I think it might be cedar. It definitely has that cedar look, but it doesn't have that cedar smell. Maybe pine. If anyone out there can kind of tell me what it is, I would absolutely love to know. See, the inside looks a lot like cedar, but I've definitely taken a little bit of sanding to it, and it is a smidge lighter than what this is. You can see I did a little test piece right here. So it is a little lighter, but this beautiful piece has been in their garage for a little bit of time, and they want it back out and reused. You can see all these loving little puppy teething marks that were patched up. So this piece has definitely grown with them, and it's been beautiful. So what we've decided to do is I'm going to sand it down and see what we've got underneath, if this truly is a lighter wood or if this is all we've got. After I kind of get it sanded down, I'm going to see if I can either restain it or if it does have to be painted. I'd hate to paint it, but I do understand you want a beautiful piece to put back in your home, and there's a lot of wear and tear. You got some watermarks, you got some water damage over there. They do want to put a cushion on top of this, kind of turn it into more of an ottoman rather than a coffee table. So I'm going to be making a large cushion to go over top, because as you can see, it's a tri-fold. So these pieces lift up here, and then this piece stays solid where it is. So I think we're going to do a cushion that goes over top of the whole thing, put some more or less like cabinet liner grippy material underneath, so that when you lay it on top and sit on it, it won't completely just slide out from under you. And then it will be a functioning ottoman that you can put your legs up on, or if you want to take the cushion off and store things in it, or then use it as a coffee table, that is more than welcome too. Underneath, it has just little peg legs. Honestly, I'm going to talk to my client. I think what I would do, personally, I would take the legs off and replace them with rolling casters, because while this piece isn't really heavy, it is large and bulky. It takes two people to move it, unless you have an abnormally large wingspan, which I haven't. I mean, maybe a couple people in my time could do that, but if you want to move it from where its current location is, you would have to physically pick it up and move it, where the rollers would make this much easier to move around. So that's what we are going to do. Hi, got my camera to work again. Turns out one of the rechargeable batteries doesn't actually work, so my camera just completely died. It wouldn't turn back on, and it took me way too long to figure out why. But I had the other battery going, so we should be good. Got it charged and plugged in. So let me just show you kind of where I've been. So I got the top all sanded here, as you can see, all nice and pretty. This was the original color that I thought was natural, but it turns out it's a lighter. It was a stain that was put on, so the wood itself is actually this lighter color. Still has a lot of beautiful wood tones in it. I'm working on sanding this side right now. I'm just about done. I'm going to start switching to this other side. It's taking quite a long time, because most of it I'm having to do by hand, just because my sander won't get in all of these cracks and crevices, but we're going to keep going. A lot of the sanding on this project had to be meticulously done by hand, because my sander couldn't get into all those crevices. However, a lot of the big parts, like the top and some of the sides, I could get with my orbital sander, which cut down on the time a whole lot. I also kind of learned some sanding tips while I was doing this. I'm sanding way too quickly. Here, you need to take your time when you are sanding, especially with an orbital sander, because you'll get those little circles. The circular pattern on the orbital sander will actually leave circles on your wood. So I did learn that lesson during this project. So I have sanded the top. We have flipped the table over. My husband lied, this camera is not charged. But I'm going to be replacing these feet with casters. These particular casters lock, so you can, they have these, so these will flip. I can't do it with one hand, so they will lock, and you can unlock them. But we're going to be replacing all of these, all 4 of these feet with casters after I get done vacuuming. That's what we're going to be doing today. First, I had to vacuum up all of the spider webs, dirt, dust, debris, because this was in a garage for a little bit, so I just kind of cleaned it up before we got started. I'm really not sure how these are attached. They are solid. I'm afraid someone just kind of glued them, and that's how they're on there, so we are going to try and not damage this off. I'm going to take our crowbar here and the hammer. See what we can do. Yeah, this took me a long time to get each foot off of this table, and I will show you why. Some suckers are in there. I'm not to break it. Look at this. Can you see under there? It's blurry, but there's a nail here. There's a nail here, and then there's that peg. I'm sorry, this is so blurry. But you can kind of see in there. And then this piece here is also trying to pull up. So I'm trying to get these out without damaging the whole thing. Let's see how this goes. I gotta take a picture. So they came from up from the inside. These, you see? These are the nail points. Why won't you focus? Well, my camera's not wanting to focus. I'm really sorry. But as you can see, they were attached to this, which they then came up from inside into here with all of them. I'm tempted to just take a Sawzall and cut them all off. I'm really tempted. We'll see. This bit kind of shows the process it took for me to get each peg foot off. I first used the crowbar to pry it up quite a bit and then used it to pry out the triangular wood piece that you see here. It kind of was a process that you had to do all at the same time. Like, I couldn't just pry the foot off of the nails on the top and then pry out the triangle. It kind of all had to come out at the same time. And then I hammered out the nails from the other side. I have metal cutting blades that go to my Sawzall. Just this. This thing sucker's heavy. So we're gonna cut those nails off. What's gonna happen? I didn't want to do that, but I think I'm out of options. So we're gonna cut them off. If I don't get footage, I'm really sorry. My camera's on empty battery because my husband used it and didn't charge it. And yeah, is the camera charged? Yeah, it's fully charged. No, it's not. That's okay. So, I'll do my best. Ready? Who needs special effects when you have a Sawzall? I'm back. It's really cold today. It was really nice yesterday. Unfortunately, and the wind's blowing right in the garage. It's awful. So got all the stain on yesterday. Got. Really hoping to have this done by tomorrow, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Got the stain on yesterday. Got the wheels on yesterday. Let's see how it looks. She's so pretty. I did a really light stain, so it kept these parts light, but the rest of it, as you can see, is a beautiful dark wood. I'm still not really sure what it is. We think it might be cedar, but a non-odorous cedar. This angle's much better. Look at those colors. It's so pretty. I think she's really gonna like it. We talked about doing a cushion on top, but she decided against it. I think we're just going to leave it plain so we can bring out these beautiful wood colors. And so there's these corners. I think I've showed you before, where the dog so lovingly grew up and chewed on the edges of this table. So I put wood filler over the corners that needed it. But obviously it stands out kind of bad from the rest of it. So I'm going to try and put a little bit of a darker stain on these, just to help blend it in, maybe. And we're gonna see how that goes today. And I'm already down one battery bar because this thing doesn't keep a charge. Possible to do that. So I went over the corners with a darker stain to make them blend in a little bit, which I thought would be perfect, but I actually had to take a much, much darker stain to even get it close to the wood tone. The wood filler didn't want to take to the stain quite as well as I think it should have, but that's okay. It just took a couple coats and I blended it on there after a bit, and I think it did pretty good. It kind of darkened up the lighter corners to blend in a little more seamlessly. Since I decided to fix some stain spots, I gotta let it dry again. We're gonna move on to the lights. Might do that inside because it's cold out here. Okay, hopefully you can see me. We're gonna do a familiar hack. This is the light we're using. It's a brass finish, even though this one shows it's silver. It's on the side here. This one with the brass finish, but then it's got this amber bowl that we're using. Where she wants the wall sconces are on either side of on the walls on the either side of her fireplace, and she doesn't have any outlets there. So we're going to do a hack that's been all over the internet. I'm really late to this train, but it's going to work for our purposes. So I have 3 puck lights here, and I have, each one takes 3 AA batteries, so I'm just going to put them in one just to show how this all works. Just like so. Put this back on. And you push it, it turns on. There's a remote. Turns on. And off. There's also a dimmer feature where I can make it go a lot brighter. Yeah. There's also timers on this little remote, but we're probably not going to be using it that way. And each 3 of these lights are connected to this remote. So, the way you do the hack is I have 3 of these light socket adapters. So on the sides you can see the groove where it would go into the light bulb, and on the front it is a socket. So basically what these are for is if you have a light bulb, like say a pocket light in your ceiling, a lot of times they happen in garages or basements where you'll have a light socket up high, but you don't want a light in it or the light doesn't work. So what you can do instead is turn it into an electrical outlet with one of these little converters. But we're not actually going to use the socket converter part. We just want the bulb converter part. We're going to stick it onto the back of the puck light, which will then be able to screw up into your light bulb and let there be light. So I have little sticky tabs that came with these puck lights because they're basically made to mount. I'm going to turn that on the whole time, like under cabinets or to walls or things like that. I'm going to see if this would hold it, if I think it would be strong enough to hold my socket onto the puck light itself. If not, handy dandy liquid nails will do the trick, but I'm going to see if I might not need that right away. So first we're going to try these. Don't mind the 5 years it's going to take for me to get these peelies off. I'm going to take them one off at a time, one side off at a time. We're just going to stick this right in the center. And the reason I like this puck light is because the entire back comes off and not just the little circular center part. Because some lights, only the little part in the middle comes off, and if you get the glue or the sticky too far over, you're never getting it back off to change the batteries. So I like that. Got the sticky part in here, but then the entire back does come off to change those batteries. I'm going to take the other side off. Oh, and it's much too big. This is much smaller than this. Well, that's okay. Doesn't really matter. So I'm just kind of made sure it's lined up in the center best I can. And press it on here. See, like I said, turn that on and off. I'm going to hold it for like 20 seconds just to make sure that the bond is secure. Kind of do this with command strips as well. Test. That's pretty on there. I'm pulling kind of hard. That doesn't look like that's going to come off. Awesome, I won't have to use the liquid nails. And I guess if these ever do come off, super glue them back on, liquid nails them back on, some kind of epoxy them back on, but I think that's going to work. Let's try it out. Let's take out my light, which I totally should have done ahead of time, but I didn't. I have opened this one before just to see what it was like, so all of my boxes are open. We're gonna get styrofoam all over the place. But left the lid over here. There we go. Here's the bulb. So pretty. I don't want to get too many fingerprints on it. Can you see the amber color? It's not easy to see on camera, but I love this amber color. So we're just going to kind of stick this back in here for right now. Put this off to the side. This is covered in styrofoam pieces. And this here is the socket. So what we're going to be doing is removing the cord. So this piece comes off the bag. And you can disconnect the cord so you don't have to have it as a plug-in either. But what we're here to find out is if this will go in here. Now the real question is, we're going to take this back off. The real question is, can I get it in here? I might have jumped the gun. I might have to kind of take this off to see. But I'm pretty sure this is just one of these lights where the bulb holds the sconce on here. Nope, we fit in there. Okay, it fits in. Ooh, that's tight. It doesn't screw all the way in, unfortunately, but it does get in there pretty tightly. I promise I do figure out that you're supposed to unscrew the little glass part that is currently resting against the globe. And that's supposed to go inside and then screw back on. So that's what's supposed to hold the globe against the rest of the sconce. You'll see in the next video. I do eventually figure it out, so don't worry, nothing breaks. I just had a momentary lapse in judgment. And there's light. I am kind of nervous that it's not on there super tight. It doesn't screw in quite as far with the glass on it that it did without the glass. I mean, I'm getting it on there. It's fairly tight. Because, you know, makes you nervous. I also didn't take insulin for food. Do that. I'm just covered in little styrofoam balls. Ugh. I almost wish I could make the rungs in here. I think it's only going in about this far, where that's how much more it has to go. Granted, it is doing fine and holding the light there. It just makes me a little nervous, but I think it'll be okay. Let's do the rest. Question is, can I get it back in the box a second time? Normally I'm an expert at this, but this box has been not cooperative at all. There. He just likes to rip. That's all it wants to do. Rip. It's fine. And I have a bunch of little styrofoamies all over the place. Three lights total, 3 puck lights, 3 adapters. If I said 3 and only held up 2, but like third. And I'm going to test all 3 of these, just in case. Make sure they all work, because, you know, the one I don't test is going to be the one that doesn't work. So, batteries are in. Light. Remote. Awesome. Why don't I just get more batteries? Lights. Perfect. They all work. I'm so glad this works. I feel like this is my first viral hack that I've ever done. Very cool. Since I had to fix some of the stain on the table, I just have to wait a little bit longer to put poly on. But I have some errands to run today, so I might go run my errands and come back and see if it's dry enough, because I only did a couple spots. So I might put poly on after that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, because I'd really like to take it out tomorrow, because I'm not going to be here this weekend. And then I start a much busier workload after starting next week. So I won't have as much time to take these back up to her. That's it. For now. Why am I weird?